Imagine you are standing in front of a heavy iron vault. You have the combination. You've spent years studying the mechanisms, and you know exactly what is inside. Total financial freedom, the end of your debt, and the power to design your own life. But as you reach for the dial, your hand stops. A cold, quiet voice in the back of your mind whispers, "What if you actually open it?" Most people believe the only thing standing between them and wealth is a lack of opportunity or a lack of capital. They think they are chasing a dream, but in reality, they are running away from a nightmare they haven't yet named. It isn't the failure they fear, it's the win. It's the subconscious terror of who they will have to become and who they will have to leave behind once they finally cross the threshold into the world of the 0.1%. Welcome to the Wealth Architecture Lab. Today we are performing a deep tissue scan of the human psyche to answer one of the most uncomfortable questions in finance. Why are you secretly afraid of becoming rich? We are going to deconstruct the scarcity virus, the generational programming that acts as a governor on your potential, and the psychological software that tells you it's safer to stay broke than it is to risk becoming a target. By the end of this video, we aren't just going to show you the math of wealth. We are going to delete the corrupted files in your brain that are keeping you from achieving it. To understand why you fear wealth, we first have to look at the scarcity virus. This is a piece of generational software installed in your mind long before you ever opened your first savings account. For many, especially those in the Gen X or millennial demographics, money was never presented as a tool for creation. It was presented as a limited resource that causes stress. You were raised by people who treated debt like a trap and savings like a shield, often developing a defensive pessimism that assumes every win is just a setup for a larger loss. This virus makes you suspicious of security and allergic to the calculated risks necessary for true compounding interest. When you think about becoming rich, your brain doesn't see a private jet, it sees a loss of safety. It sees the end of the predictable struggle you've grown comfortable with. The first level of this fear is the social tax of success. We've explored before what it feels like to be the only rich one in your friend group. But the fear of that isolation starts long before you earn your first million. Subconsciously, you know that wealth is a barrier. It changes the way you speak, the way you spend your Sundays, and the way you view the world. You fear that by winning, you will become a stranger to the people you love. You worry that your family will view you as an ATM rather than a son or daughter, or that your friends will resent you for the very success they claim to want for you. This is the crab-in-a-bucket syndrome. You are afraid that if you climb out, you'll be doing it alone. You are secretly choosing relatability over riches because the psychological cost of being misunderstood feels higher than the financial cost of being broke. The second level is the fear of the target. There is a subconscious belief that if you have money, the system will finally notice you. You fear the complexity of tax avoidance, the open AI problem, of your job becoming obsolete, and the real math of maintaining a lifestyle that you might one day lose. This is known as loss aversion. The psychological reality that the pain of losing $10,000 is twice as intense as the joy of gaining it. You are staying in the slow lane of a 401k or a traditional savings account because it feels hidden, even if you know that doing nothing is quietly costing you more than you think. The third level is the inherited identity trap. If your identity is built on being an underdog or a hard worker, becoming wealthy threatens the very foundation of who you think you are. If you aren't the person struggling to pay the $400k house mortgage or complaining about your payslip, then who are you? You might feel like a fraud in rooms where people discuss hedge funds and shorting retail stocks because your internal software is still running on survival mode. You are afraid that wealth will reveal that you don't actually belong in the world of the 0.1%. So you self-sabotage your side hustles or your trading accounts before they can ever reach escape velocity. Level 4 is the burden of responsibility. When you are broke, your problems are simple. You need more money. But when you are rich, your problems become architectural. You have to worry about generational wealth, estate planning, and the 7% rule of managing debt versus investing. You have to decide if you are going to be the person who builds a dynasty or the person who inherits $1 million and goes broke in 3 years. For many, the mental load of managing a legacy is more terrifying than the physical load of working a $20 an hour job. You are secretly afraid of the success tax, the realization that the more you have, the more the world expects you to lead. So how do we delete this software? How do we cure the scarcity virus? It begins with a Sunday audit of your own fears. You must sit down and look at the real math of your inaction. You have to realize that the stability you are clinging to is actually a form of slow-motion poverty, where the bank profits from your fear. You need to understand that making money isn't the same as keeping it, and that the only way to keep it is to develop a wealth mindset that is more powerful than your safety mindset. You must be willing to be the villain in the story of those who want you to stay small so that you can be the architect for the generations that follow you. Wealth is not an accident, it is an architecture, but you cannot build a skyscraper on a foundation made of fear. If you want to join the 0.1%, you have to stop looking at wealth as a lucky break and start looking at it as a deliberate psychological departure from the masses. You have to be willing to lose your relatability to gain your freedom. You have to be willing to be a target to become a titan. The vault isn't locked from the outside, it's locked from the inside, and you are the only one with the code. As we close this session in the lab, I want you to perform a brutal audit of your own ambitions. Look at the goals you say you want and compare them to the risks you are actually taking. If there is a gap, it's not because you lack a dream car or a dream home. It's because you are protecting a version of yourself that is already obsolete. The system thrives on your hesitation, but your legacy depends on your courage. Ask yourself this. If you woke up tomorrow with $10 million in the bank, would you be more excited about the freedom or more terrified of the person you'd have to become to keep it? If you are ready to stop being afraid of your own potential and start building the architecture of your future, hit the subscribe button and join the Wealth Architecture Lab. We are deconstructing the traps and building the 0.1% one mindset shift at a time. I'll see you in the next one.